Whew. It's getting cold out here. Some of you probably have booked a nice sunny vacation somewhere and probably looking at a little pocketable camera that you can take with you to the beach. If that's you, this might be the video for you. So keep on watching. So you're probably interested in a rugged camera. This was last year's model. Fujifilm has introduced a brand new model this year called the XP140. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the new features that this camera offers. So in this segment of camera, of course, these cameras are shockproof, they're waterproof, they're dustproof, and even freeze-proof. And perfect for a condition like today, which is about -7 degrees. This camera is rated to about -10 degrees for operations, and of course just keeping the batteries pretty warm is going to help with the longevity of using this in this type of condition. Some of the new features, of course, is that it does have a better waterproof seal. It's now down to about 82 feet, which is about 25 meters. Also, the shockproof has been slightly improved to about 5.9 feet of where basically the camera can be dropped without being damaged. On the side of the camera, like most of the XP cameras, you got this really great seal of a door. You really can't accidentally take this if you're going underwater. You're going to have to push the button, twist it out, and that battery door has a great little rubber seal that protects it from moisture and water from getting into the camera. Inside there, of course, is where you would have your SD card, your rechargeable battery that's included with this camera, as well as the HDMI port and USB port for charging. So this camera does come in various nice bright colors. I have here, of course, the lime green and has sort of a contrast to, looks kind of like a graphite finish to it in the front. But of course, depending on the market that you're looking at for this camera, not all colors will be available. Like its predecessor, the Fujifilm XP140 does carry a lot of the features over. You got still the 5x optical zoom lens that starts at 28mm. It is stabilized. You got the 16 megapixel BSI sensor as well, which is great for low light. This year, of course, the ISO goes up to 12,800, which is an improvement over last year's model. On the back of the camera, you have a 3-inch LCD screen. It has an anti-reflective coating, which makes it a little bit easier to see in brighter situations. Of course, you got your directional pads, all your buttons, your wide and telephoto zoom controls to control the optical zoom that's found on this camera. On top of the camera, it does have a shutter button that's a little bit easier to press, especially using gloves, bigger than traditional shutter buttons. You got an on and off switch, and you got a dedicated movie recording. So if you wanted to do up to full HD 1080p at 60 frames per second, it's a great little on and off switch that allows you to quickly record videos on the fly. With this new processor, you have new features now incorporated into the camera. You got things like 4K burst shooting mode that makes it very simple to kind of shoot a 4K video burst and kind of pick images from that really quickly, making it easy to capture the action. You got things like 4K time lapse. Included with that, of course, is the interval timer settings that allow you to do time lapse shots. And then once after, it'll create a 4K time lapse video in camera for you, so you don't have to use software on the computer. You also got a new advanced SR Plus auto mode, similar to that's found on the XT100 and the XA5. Now on the back of the camera, you have your directional pads. There's kind of assigned to be like the exposure comp, the flash, and the self-timer. In the self-timer mode, there's a couple new self-timer features added to it, including smile detection, which of course, every time you smile, it's going to take that picture for you. You also got like a face self-timer shot, so that once it recognizes a face, it will automatically take that picture. In addition to that, of course, this camera does offer things like face detection and eye detection, which makes it so simple just to pick up this camera and not think about it and get focus shots, every single time. So back to the directional pad, there is a function button, but this year you now can configure that directional pad to configure to do other functions. So if you hold down the display back button for a few seconds, it brings up a little menu, and you can customize that and choose what you like beyond just, the self-timer, flash, or even the exposure comp choices that are pre-printed on that dial. Another nice improvement to the XP140, of course, is the menus. They've now mitigated the menus to be very similar to what's found on the X85 and XT100. You got multiple sections for the photo settings and multiple sections now for the settings themselves, making it much easier to change and to jump from this Fujifilm camera to other X series cameras in our lineup. So let's talk quickly about the video functionalities on this camera. You're probably going to go into the beach, you might be in the water, and not just about photos, you probably want to do some videos as well. This camera can shoot up to 4K, but it's only at 15 frames per second, so really not that of a useful feature. What I find really useful, of course, is that it does offer full HD videos up to 60 frames per second, and by shooting at a faster frame rate, in post when you do some edits, you can actually slow that down, making for some really nice slow motion footage. It really is going to be this very slow, dramatic footage that you can kind of capture and use that sort of as B-roll in your vacation video that you might want to post on YouTube or share it with family and friends. Aside from the 4K burst shooting mode, there's also continuous shooting modes up to about 10 frames per second. On the back of the camera, you have a dedicated continuous button you can push, and bringing that will bring up the menu for you to set that up. In addition to that, that's where you'll also find functions like 4K burst, as I mentioned, as well as HDR. Of course, aside from the SR Plus Auto mode that's again upgraded from past models using similar technology found on cameras like the X85 and XT100. You also got scene shooting modes, the standard ones you find in most of the cameras. Also, you got motion panoramic, which allows you to basically do a nice panoramic stitch, just like you would find it in most smartphones and tablets. It's also here on this camera. So it's everything you really want in a portable, tough, rugged, walk around piece. I hope you enjoyed this first look video of the Fujifilm XP140 camera. If you're interested in this and other Fujifilm cameras, again, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Billy of the Fuji Guys. Woo! Death. Death.